How are things looking there at the plot that you are building?
Oh, it's looking very good. We're busy with the roof actually at the moment. So
We're going to load the tiles.
yes, we're waiting.
Hi there, you three. I wish more people could smile and laugh like you three. You look great. From what I can see and hear, you truly are three very happy people. You laugh. You don't just exist from one day to another day. Today it's time for the next lecture on possession, titled How Do We Know If a Person or maybe yourself are possessed? I am so excited to share this next bit of ancient wisdom secrets with you Brahmis friends out there. Are you three also excited?
Yes,
We're
of
so
course.
very excited. We can't wait.
Okay, are we going to go inside to start off?
Oh,
Yes,
definitely.
let's begin.
So
Let's do it.
Hi to all the Brahmis Tower of Light friends out there. Aaron's, are we ready for the next session?
Nikita, we are as ready as can come.
Awesomeness.
Hello to all our friends of Brahmis Tower of Light. Worldwide, we are talking to all of you. In today's program, I'm going to share more ancient wisdom secrets with you on how to see if a person or maybe yourself is possessed. Oh, if you haven't watched the previous program, I would highly suggest that you do. The contents of the previous program are essential if you want to understand the contents of this program. This program is a follow-up on the previous program on possession. Please help us to help others who are really in need of this kind of ancient wisdom secrets. Please press the like, share and subscribe buttons and the little bell icon to be in line for more very helpful ancient wisdom secrets. Where's our little bell icon, Nikita? Oh, shake it. Just a reminder. Oh, please, people, help us to reach other. Help us to make our planet a better place for the upcoming generations. And now, very important, before I continue on how to recognize if you or anybody else is possessed, I would like to share another ancient wisdom secret with you guys out there. Listen very carefully and make sure you understand what you are going to hear. Maybe what I'm going to point out could be the reason for negative disturbances in your own home. Now, are you ready to hear that ancient wisdom secret?
Most definitely. Aaron.
I think a lot of people know it, Nikita, but yeah, I don't think they really understand what they are actually knowing. A house, a flat, a business premises, a granny flat, a specific room in a house or premises, a farm, a piece of land, and even furniture or ornaments can be possessed by an earthbound visa as a human soul, and or earthbound human soul's emotion, or by any form of demonic consciousness giving life form. I am sure that most of our friends out there have visited a museum where they felt as if someone or somebody was watching them the whole time, even if they were alone in the museum. Now, Nikita, have you ever experienced
Yes,
it?
Aaron, I've experienced what you explained to our friends out there. So, by the way, when we refer to our friends out there, we refer to all psychic people, all spiritual people, anyone who loves truth, everybody who, like us, are very serious about true religion. Aaron, can those entities in museums possess the people who visit museums?
Nikita, luckily, no. Not the entities behind the glass. Unless there are earthbound spirits or demons in the corridors or whatever. But if you ever visited a war museum, as an example, behind the glass wall separating you and the stuff on display are the earthbounders, and in some cases their emotions attached to their objects or ornaments in the display. Now, here in South Africa, I visited different war museums where I felt uneasy due to the invisible eyes watching me the whole time. I consulted the real light side deities to hear from them what was looking at me the whole time when I was in the museum, and the answer I received was as follows. In times of war, people in concentration camps, for instance, did not know if they would see the next day. Some of those prisoners in concentration camps created furniture, ornaments, or any other handmade items. And the mothers also made clothing for their children. Nikita, you can imagine how many negative emotions are in those furniture, ornaments, items, and clothing behind those walls of glass in a museum. The real light side deities refer to these emotional created life forms as Sorita spirits. Isn't that very interesting?
Very, very interesting.
Nikita, for some reason an earthbound human soul or a Sorita spirit cannot pass through glass windows or glass walls. Anybody out there, have you taken notice on this? To our friends out there, I have just shared another ancient wisdom secret. I hope you received it. Now, these so-called man-created Sorita spirits can't possess visitors at a museum. If there is earthbound human souls in the museum, they can only possess you if you are not properly shielded with the brightest, purest, whitest light of the Most High, Toratore Yahweh Goria. Now, in the previous programs that was program B, we shared video clips with you to show you how easy it is for demons and earthbound dark side human souls to possess an unshielded human being without them even knowing it.
So, Ernst, please will you help our friends out there? Help them explain and teach them how to shield themselves with the whitest light against demonic and other dark side entities.
Of course, I'll teach them how to shield themselves. In fact, I've compiled a program on self-shielding, which, if I'm not mistaken, will be program E. So that's not very far in the future. With the above mentioned wisdom in mind, I'll be wiser if we first investigate the house where the possessed person stays and sleep.
Yes. Aris, can a haunted house or business have a negative influence or effect on any person staying or visiting that premises? I've heard people say that haunted houses and haunted premises can indeed deform or possess a human being into a madman.
Nikita, yes. If you are not shielded with the brightest spirit light or white light of the Most High Toratore Yahweh Goria, and you visit or sleep in a haunted house or a haunted business premises, you can become possessed. A great percentage of our people lives in haunted houses. In most cases, people refer to possessed people as mad people. To be mad is just another description of being possessed. Now, before I continue, what can you tell me about what you know about a possessed person?
Oh, it will definitely change his or her personality in a few, I would say a few different personalities.
100%.
I think I've had that experience also.
Yes, I think we all had an experience of being possessed. I most definitely was possessed in my life 100 times, and later on in the programs you will see why. Yes. Before I can treat a person who are possessed with, let's say, a demonic force who makes that person seriously ill, yes, I must know what's going on there, and this is what I'm going to share with you. So listen to the next one. I often hear mothers complaining about their babies who all of a sudden and without visible reason started screaming in the middle of the night. I'm sure our friends out there knows what I'm talking about. Maybe a lot of them had the same experience when they as parents rushed to the baby's room only to find nothing visible to be the reason why the baby screams as if it was in the process of being murdered. Now, yeah, of course, the non-psychic and in some cases non-spiritual people can't see what we as spiritual people can see. You know, I wonder sometimes if, or a lot of people will ask if this, to be able to see in the unseen, is it a curse or is it a blessing? To me, it's definitely a blessing. Since I recommended these mothers to install baby monitors or baby cams where the baby sleeps, these mothers could see firsthand what the reasons are for their baby screaming in the middle of the night. Yeah, if you cannot see into the unseen, and I must admit, Nikita, I don't think me and you and Aliska or Kobus will be able just to see.
Yeah.
You know, we must make use of cameras, special cameras that can capture what we cannot see. Now, Nikita, in the next video clip that I researched from YouTube, this video clip went viral, so by the way, you will see a dark human-like figure of black mist in the room with a baby.
A grandma has caught something quite terrifying in her granddaughter's room. Tori McKenzie is begging for help online after capturing what she describes as a demon standing over her grandchild's bed. Miss McKenzie set up a motion-activated camera at her son's house after complaints his 2-year-old daughter Amber was talking to something unseen in the middle of the night. The grandma checked her camera's app days later to find a bone-chilling image of a figure standing very close to her sleeping grandchildren, with what she described as it having a horn on its head and long claws. The creature is captured standing awkwardly, looking upwards just before 3 a.m. Miss McKenzie says when she tried to rid the house of the evil presence by burning oils, she claimed cabinets and curtains opened and closed and music began to play by itself. The grandmother insists the discovery has left her fearing for her grandchildren's lives and that the photo is real and could not be photoshopped because she does not have the technical know-how to change the image.
That is not a demon, but an earthbound human soul. This dark side earthbound human soul is not at rest after the body that it gave consciousness to died, of course. Now, when the human body he gave consciousness to died, he didn't qualify to go to the Vuhatse and therefore remain earthbound after his human body died. Now, all babies and toddlers can see earthbounders and demons, which their parents in most cases can't see or believe in. The non-believing in the unseen parents risk the lives of their toddlers and babies.
As you said, all babies and toddlers can see earthbound human souls and demonic entities. Up to what age do babies and toddlers see what non-psychics cannot see?
Nikita, as usual, a very important question. You know, this is why I read the stuff that I've written for our friends out there, because I forget. And I'm so glad that you and Aliska and Kobus reminds me sometimes of the best questions. So let me answer you. Nikita, remember that a newborn baby consists of a small body of flesh, plus its consciousness-giving life form, which can be anything, a visa, doesn't matter what. Now at birth, this consciousness-giving life form arrives to enter the small baby's body to give consciousness to it. Now before he or she, as a consciousness-giving life form, entered the newborn baby's body, he or she only uses his or her first set of senses. Now, what are the first set of senses? It is you as a consciousness-giving life form. It is your eyes and ears and nose and whatever you are going to use when you are not in a body of flesh anymore. Now, I mean, some people can die, the bodies can die, and they go to Vuhatse where they can stay ages.
Yeah.
If it comes to that. before they can re-enter. Now after entering the baby's body, the consciousness giving life form must learn to use the senses of the human body it gives consciousness to, and that takes time. I'm sure that you saw what I'm going to explain now. I'm going to look at the camera just to use my eyes. When a baby is very small, now look at the eyes. It will kind of, there's no, they glare, they cannot focus properly, and then all of a sudden you see, okay, there the baby comes through. Now you can see that those eyes are actually not baby's eyes, but more human eyes. I saw children's photos of which, if that baby looks at you, you don't look into its brain. You see actually a very, very extremely, in some cases, educated or an old wise soul looking towards you through a baby's eyes. Now, baby's eyes usually blur, that kind of blur action that I'm doing now, and adjust the whole time until they master the body's eyes. So they can look in a glare, and then you say, "Hi, sweetie," and then all of a sudden it focuses again, and then it looks there and it goes into a blur again. They go from the unseen to the seen, or what they can see. Now, the more they see into the unseen, the longer they will be able to see in the unseen dimensions. What I would like to explain to our viewers out there, a lot of times, especially where a toddler is about 4 or 5 years of age, actually 2 to 3 also, and they have a conversation with unseen little, what do you call it, friends.
Yes.
Most Western moms will say, "Stop it at once! Stop talking to rubbish! You live in a mindset of yourself." In the meantime, that mother lives in a mindset of herself, because that poor little soul, a few days ago, or a few months, or a few years ago, it just came from the Bohatse, where it was using its first set of senses, and now all of a sudden it's in a small little human body, not developed. The brain is not even developed. Now you must use your first set of senses and your bodily senses. Now what will a toddler or a baby do? They will start seeing in a house there's friends, and now they will start to have communications with that unseen friends. Mothers can be very rude when they don't believe in imaginary friends. Just remember, mothers out there, it is not your baby's fault that he can see into the unseen. It's your fault that you cannot see into the unseen. Because later in this programs you will learn what your duties in the school of learning called Earth Environment wants you to do. You must develop psychically and spiritually if you want to see in the unseen. And this is what we are supposed to do. How are you going to fight your biggest enemy if you can't see him? You know what I mean? So mothers out there, if you can't see, really start getting a course or something, start practicing to see imaginary friends. Of course, all imaginary friends are not imaginary human souls or little guardians or whatever. It could be real demonic entities. Me and Kobus more often go to houses, haunted houses, and at one stage when we entered the house, the lady of the house reminded me that me and Floranza, years and years and years ago, we visited her place, and as soon as I entered the room, I recognized it because I knew what was going on there, and even the rocking little horse was still there, rocking all on its own. That's horrible. So that could be a guardian, let's say a life side guardian, or it could be somebody that didn't go over to the light
Yes.
side, or even that's now earthbound, or
Yes.
it could be a real demon
Yeah.
in action. So it's more, how can I put it? It's more urgent to listen to what your baby or your toddler is saying while he or she is in conversation with an unseen
Yes,
or an
yeah.
imaginary friend. Otherwise, how are you going to, you know, later on, if your child comes to you and say, Mommy, Yanni, my imaginary friend, as you call him, he just hit me, then you know it's not
Yeah.
a guardian. Then
Yeah.
I should have been there a long time
Yes.
ago. But in any case, the video we studied proves not only the real existence of dark side earthbound human souls and or demons in the house, it proves that such unseen and unwelcome dark side consciousness giving life forms can and will affect the people in the household in a negative manner, regardless if the parents of the house believe in the unseen or not. I would once again ask our viewers out there, really, if you cannot see into the unseen, start practicing your first set of senses. And in the Brahma scriptures, there are a lot of courses that you can undertake to start learning to see the invisible. Right. It's logic that they will be possessed as soon as they are back in the haunted house. We need to heal the possessed person's haunted house first. Now, Nikita, you will remember in the past I talked about this. It doesn't help if I paratose a person and get rid of all the attached dark side entities and witchcraft and whatever, and now this person must go back and sleep in their own house where actually they could have got possessed.
Yes.
And those demons or earthbound spirits inside them are not going to linger there alone. So they've got friends. So who tells the owner of a house that the house is sacred space if he or she cannot see or feel or whatever?
In a previous discussion between us, you mentioned that there are 3 main areas to focus on when we suspect a person to be possessed. What are these 3 main areas to the invisible?
Nikita, first of all, you make me so, I don't know, I'm so full of life at this stage, you know. It's so necessary that our friends out there takes note of this. Nikita, first of all, we look into a suspected possessed person's eyes. You know, the eyes. Secondly,
Of the soul.
yes, the eyes, they are the windows of the soul. I always say if a person looks to the outerly body and they like or dislike me on behalf of that, they have never met me
Yes, exactly.
inside this body. If they cannot identify me, they have never met me. They have met the body to which I give consciousness to. Now, secondly, we feel a person's radiation, vibration. Doesn't matter if you are possessed or not, you feel it. And you know, this is very important later on, and for those people out there that are going to read the books in the Brahma scriptures, or some of the books, like the books on demonology and whatever, we always have to feel a person. You know, my late mom, she was not really my mom, she took care of me. Okay, she and my dad, they created the body to which I give consciousness to, but I'm not theirs. My father is in heaven, so they are like foster parents, you know, just to raise me up until I can start focusing what's really right and really wrong. But she always said, because she was blind. The one eye was a glass eye, and the other eye couldn't see more than 2.5 to 3%. And you can imagine how little she could see. So when I guarded and lead her over the streets and whatever, and a person passes us, she will ask me, who just passed us now? Not every time, but in some cases, I will say, why? And she will say, that is an evil person. And if I look around and I ask her to sit down or just stand there and quickly run back and come again to see the person's eyes, she was absolutely correct. And one day I asked her, how do you know this? I can see it in the eyes. And she said, you can feel it. And later, the good Most High up there, thank you, Most High Turatria Wegoria, he gave me extra small little sub components to activate myself to feel different radiation vibrations of persons. So even if you are blindfolded and you walk past me or by me, I will, what is this? I can feel. So that is a second thing. First is the windows of the soul. Oh, you are going to like this. And then feel if a possessed person, feel on that person's radiation vibration, if he or she is really possessed or not. And I must say, when we get to growing in demonic entities, you will not identify those in a person's eyes. That is where you need to feel. Yes. Otherwise you are going to slip on. Now, thirdly, we study that person's lifestyle. Let me start with the eyes. We refer to the eyes as the windows or mirrors of the soul. Now let's look at the following. It's a chart that I would like to discuss with you. Brown eyes, or let's say people with brown eyes, belong, or let me start again, 70 to 80% of the world's population have got brown eyes. Now there's different shades of brown, light brown eyes to very dark black brown eyes. So there's also a huge range. Then the blue eyes belongs to 8 to 10% of the world's population. Can you imagine? Wow. And there's also light blue, whatever, to darkest blue eyes. Then you get to the hazel eyes. They only 5% of the world's population have hazel colored eyes. Amber eyes belong to 5% also of the world's population, and then only 3% do have grey eyes. I must say I've never saw a person with grey eyes, but in any case, green eyes belong to only 2% of the world's population, and nowadays there are people with red or violet colored eyes. Ooh. You know, I start shaking if I think on how beautiful those eyes must be. There was an actress or so with purple violet eyes something, and she was a very beautiful woman. So but the red eyes, I have never saw one with red eyes. Did you?
No,
luckily not, or unfortunately not. Remember that a digital camera can see what our eyes can't always see. If you think that you are possessed, take a selfie. You know what a selfie is? Take the cell phone and take off the glasses and now you can study. Because to look in a person's eyes will not always tells you if a person is possessed. You will see what I'm talking about later on. But if you think you are possessed, take a selfie of your face without glasses on. Make sure you can see the eyes properly. Now you can study your own eyes. Let's look at the following pictures of different eyes. These photos of eyes remind me of the days gone by when I studied iridology. Now, a lot of people out there they will know what iridology really means. I'm not a qualified iridologist, but I studied it. You know, if you don't practice it every day, they take away your license or the certificate or whatever you received in this. Now, let's look. In this case, I'm not going to study the eyes looking for illnesses of the body, but to see if a person is possessed or not. Remember, we don't examine people physically.
Yeah.
The nearest I come to a person when I paratose is to put my fingers slightly on the person's shoulders, but nothing else. Now, let's look at the following eye. That is photo 1. This photo shows an eye which I see as a green eye. Look at the iris and see if the water covering the iris are bright and without any turbidness or cloudiness in it or muddiness in it. In the case of this specific eye, this is photo 1, the water covering the iris is clear and without any turbidness or cloudiness in it. This means this person is by 33.33% chance not possessed. We must first feel, because why am I saying this? As I said before, because a lot of ingrowing demons and especially demonic entities choose by witch doctors to attach to a cursed person, where he or she must get a heart attack or something, where you can actually in the with your through the Mageda irises, or if you go in astral form and look at that person, you will see a chain from the arm or the leg, and there will be a big black baboon-like shaped demonic entity. So we don't do the physical body. We only heal where we are allowed to heal, the consciousness-giving body. Now the following photo number 2, is of a brown-colored eye, which is also remarkably bright and clear. I just want to explain something. If you look at that photo, the brown one, you will see there's a kind of a reddish color also in it, but you can see the water in that eye. You know, if the eye is like this, there's a little lens over the iris, the round part, the water inside there. This is what you have to look for, not the white of the eye around the iris, only the water inside it. And in this special case, you can see, you can even go back to the previous one as well. You will see the pupil is quite small. It is usual, the usual size of what a pupil of an eye should be under normal circumstances. Now, photo number 3. If you look at photo number 3, what is wrong, Nikita?
Like you said, you can first look at the pupil. It's quite different.
Yep.
It's a very scary eye, that one.
Yeah, if there's a knock on my door and okay, we haven't got peeping holes, but in any case, if I look and I see a person like that standing in front of me, I'm not going to open unless I'm prepared.
Yes, yeah.
To handle him if it comes to that. But there you can see, okay, the photo is slightly blurred, but even that, I didn't take the selfie of the person. I asked the person who phoned me to take a selfie of his or her eyes, and that person sent it to me. So, but even when the person arrived, the eyes of that person were blurry, muddy. Now, let us sum up the first part of our diagnosis. Be very aware that an eye-to-eye contact will not always reveal possession. You need to work from digital photos of the possessed person's eyes. I think they are going to wonder why specifically, because there are a lot of old age cameras also. When they took a photo, that you can see there's a strange entity, you know, like an earthbound person on the group photo or whatever.
Yes.
You can see that. So, but normally a digital camera, I don't know why, but it's got something in
Yeah.
it. It doesn't miss. If you remember the last time I showed you the two video clips of how
Yes.
to get possessed by,
Yes.
what does it look like, etc.
Yeah.
Now, if you look into a person's eyes, focus on the water in the eyes, covering the irises. If that water is cloudy, the chance is good that that person shares his or her personal body with an alien consciousness giving life form, like a demon or an earthbound human soul or souls. Why do I say, okay, we'll come to that one later on. That's going to be a little bit long to explain, but we'll do it later on. If a person contacts me with an issue that he or she think they are bewitched, there's a difference, or that they find themselves derailed more often, my first response to such a person would be to ask the person to take a selfie and send it to me. Now, if the eyes of the person on the selfie is clouded or with a possessed look in it, I will advise the person to make an appointment with my practice where we can discuss the problem. There is an average consultation fee for each appointment. Now, it happened before when a possessed person came to see me. As they entered my practice, their eyes could be non-cloudy. Now, during the second prognosis, we look at the expression. Very, 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 very important.
Yes.
I cannot say it. Now look and study the expression in the person's eyes. Take note of the following. I've got a photo there of a glass or an artificial eye. Now, I told you my own mom had an artificial eye, and for me as a child it was very urgent. You know, the right eye was the artificial one,
Yes.
and if I stood on the right side, I couldn't see what her emotion was.
Yes, I
You know,
understand.
the child is naughty, so I had to come and stand on this side.
This
If
side.
she looks okay, it's okay, but if she looks a bit, you know, as if she's not in the mood for children's
Yeah.
nonsense or whatever, I could see it, which I couldn't see from the other side. Why am I telling you this? Because it's very important. Listen to the next. Most artificial eyes have a nothing expression, like the eye in the photo above, which is artificial
Yes.
eye. What do you see as a non-expression, Nikita?
Lifeless, dead, there's nothing. You'll feel it also.
How do you know all this stuff? Because you join us when we go to people like that
Yeah.
to help. Now, yeah, a great percentage of Western people out there looks as if they have two artificial eyes. You know, I don't want to name persons directly, but there are quite a few reptilian seed line families on Earth, and one of the greatest families of them all. If you look at those people's eyes, especially the one, you know who I'm talking
Yes.
about. She can sit there with a smile from here to here, but
yes.
if you look in her eyes, you look into a reptilian
Yeah.
eye. It is dark, it is lifeless, it is actually cruel.
Yeah.
It is, in Afrikaans we say a kill, you know, it's like Don't look at me. I don't want to.
Danger.
You know, if I meet persons in my practice and they've got eyes like this, that I just explained, I will not talk to them. Why must I have a conversation with a demonic entity?
Yes.
That person came to see me, not the demon.
Yes, yes.
So if a person has got that kind of eyes, bye-bye, or make an appointment for a paratosa.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm sharing secrets with demonic
Yes.
entities, etc., etc., etc. Now, yeah, you must please listen and focus on what I am about to say. Look at the person's facial expressions while the person talks. If the eyes show emotion, doesn't matter how little emotion, the chance reduces that the person could be possessed. You know, I hated to talk about myself, but it is necessary to talk about myself. And I was born on the 11th of the month 11, that is November, in 56, and a 5 and a 6 give you another 11. And we have a tendency as Scorpios to close, and you now I want to laugh, but you can have a nothing expression. But as soon as you share a joke and that person's eyes does not smile,
Yeah. Yeah.
could be something else. I hated that people must look into my mind. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I close the eyes all time. If the person laughs or smiles very broad and the eyes stay lifeless or cruel or cold, you can be sure that person shares his or her body with one or more high-ranking demons, or even a very cruel man who died.
Yes.
His consciousness, he has a consciousness giving life form. If he enters your body and look through your eyes, you are also see that very horrible expression. Now, some earthbound human souls were cruel and hard with no mercy at all. They gave consciousness to their own bodies of flesh. Now, maybe he or she was a murderer or a criminal or a rapist or something like that. Now, the death of the physical body didn't change their attitude at all. They are still what they were when they had their own bodies of flesh. You can see this expression in the eyes of the possessed person. Now, some of the real, you out there listen to this one, I'm sure you have heard about this demonic god or Hefkenam, a fallen one. Some of the real Lakzela reptilians, remember the name Lakzela. In dark side royal families on earth can't smile, with their eyes smiling as well. Their faces can smile or laugh, but their eyes stay hard, cold and cruel. With this in mind, you can guess what gives consciousness to those bodies. Not all of them are like this. This is also why they keep the seed lines very pure. The third focus point of this Zora Molege procedure will be to feel. How do you feel why this probably possessed person stands or sits very close to you in your personal space, like we are in your personal space and you are in mine? And even our two friends here, the cameraman and the other one helping us to make this film, even they can feel. Now, yeah, how do you feel why this probably possessed person stands or sits very close to you? Is his or her radiation vibration cold or warm? Now, before we go on, there's another one that I would enter here. One of my guides just told me. And that goes, you know, there's a thing called a Zama demon. Now, the Azama demons are more attached to drugs like cocaine, for instance. And when a person is under the influence of cocaine, you can watch his eyes pupils. It's usually very bigger than usual. It is the same happens if you're on a psychiatric medicine. But if I know what to look for, and if I see that, I know that person is on cocaine, and you get a very special demon. You call it a Zama, Z-A-M-A, a Zama demon. If he enters a body, he will immediately, if you took one line, or I don't know how many they took normally, I think they took normally 3, but if you even take one line of cocaine, your eyes are going to, the pupils will dilute, or it is diluted, become bigger. Now, yeah.
Arends, can you please explain to us what it feels like exactly when a possessed person's radiation vibration is cold or warm, or if we want to test it?
That is not always possible to test, except when they come into my practice. The reason for that is, remember, the more, let's say, human you are, the more warm will be your body. And if you take, whatever, your thermometer, and you put it under your arm, or here in the, what do you call it?
Yes.
Where your leg joins your body. If you put a thermometer there, you will most definitely experience a very warm body.
Yes.
Now, strange, but the more demonic you become, or possessed, the colder the body becomes. And even if you cannot test that, and you sit in that person's personal zone, you will feel what you will feel when somebody who wants to kill you is very near you, and you can feel that person.
Yes.
This is how you test. If you answer a knock on the front door, you usually look through the peephole to see who is on the other side of the door. Now, if you look and a cold, chill, cruel eye watches back at you from the other side of the door, how will your body react to what you just saw?
Well, Ernest, I think I'd most probably definitely be frightened, but like always, as you're also teaching us all, be shielded with the Most High's light to right the brightest as possible.
Yes.
Know how to handle the case when it comes to your door.
Thank you, Nikita. What about you two, Kabos and Iliska? Iliska, what would you say?
I would most definitely also be frightened when I see such an eye, Ernst. As you've mentioned, the eyes are the windows of the soul, and to look directly into the soul of the demon possessing that person's body at that moment could end up in a nightmare if you are not shielded correctly.
What about you, Kobus?
The same thing would be there, but it's also going to be by your feelings that you're getting. But the moment that you feel them, you can immediately go back and shield you twice, even a third time, to make sure that you are correctly shielded before you're helping persons like that.
Oh, I'm so proud of you people, you know. If to have you on my team, I'm very honored to have you. You too, Nikita. I mean, those two are not prepared. I just point the question, not even showing the camera towards them, and listen how they answered.
Awesome.
What they can
You
come
teach us
sit,
well.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean it. It comes from my heart. I mean, you can listen to each and every one out there can listen to what they just answered. It's 100%. Now, where psychics can feel other people's radiation vibration, other physics can practice, or psychics, sorry, other psychics can practice with photos of cruel murderers, rapists, terrorists, whatever. When we come to the program, ooh, listen to this one. Ooh, people out there, wakey, wakey. Listen to this one. When we come to the program on vampires
Oh,
and
yes.
werewolves and reptilians and draconians in human bodies on Earth, I will
that's
reveal
going to be
another ancient wisdom secret on their different body temperatures, which will help you in recognizing them. I've met some of the real ones here in South Africa. Yeah, let me tell you about this one. I'm not going to use names or places, but
Yes.
I can promise our viewers out there that in Bloemfontein, South Africa, we have two shape-shifting reptilians. I talk about them in the books that I've written. It is actually very scary. You know, the one day me and Cabos and another lady friend, we visited a very, let's call it a rich environment where people live. All the rich people live there. And we went there for a hiking through the woods. Which there are not really, only a few. But in any case, we saw a house there, and to make a long story short,
Yes.
a man came out of there, and Cabos and the lady friend, they walked on, leaving me there to chat with the guy. And when I looked at him, I saw that the whole half of his face was like, you know, Niki Lauda was a racing car driver who were in a very terrible accident, and the whole face was burnt. And after a lot of operations, it seems like he had a plastic layer.
Yes.
You can see it very clearly. And this person had this layer, and he was slightly blonde with green eyes. But in any case, we promised to make a visit there, and which we did. But the person didn't want to take us into his house. But when we came there the second time, I was kind of disappointed because the person coming out of the yard was
Yes.
not the same person. But this person now was bald, or nearly bald-headed, much more bald-headed than me, with a few hair here and, you know, acrylic or whatever
Yes.
here. And that person had blue eyes. So I thought it was that person's maybe family member or whatever. But as soon as I walked up to him and I looked in the eyes, he changed right in front of me, back to the scene, what he looked like the first time. So I consulted the light side deities, and they
Yes.
said to me, no, he's only a partly shape-shifting reptilian. He does not even know.
Yes.
But he's got a lady friend who does that as well. And when I said to her, you know, you're so very, what is bevoorrecht nou weer? You are so very
Privileged.
lucky, let's call
Privileged,
it
sorry. Yeah,
privileged, to have a boyfriend like this, because every time you see him, he looks different. And she said, yes, that is what's making our friendship so special. Each and every time we go to bed, I'm going to bed with a new person. I mean, if she says it or said
Yeah,
it and
she
she
knows
doesn't
it.
know what she's actually saying. So
Yeah.
the other one, he's got in the pupils, this guy, the eyes, the whole facial, whatever can change. But the other guy, and this one, sorry, before I go on, the eyes, the pupils look okay until he's very relaxed. Then the eyes, the pupils will become like this.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
typical reptilian. And when he's out in the sun, very green. He also chooses to live in that home, which I don't know where in the house, but there's a room where the temperature is 11 degrees lower than the rest
The
of the
rest
house,
of-
and they prefer to stay there in that cold. Typical reptilian. In the
Yes.
daytime, they'll come out midwinter, sit there with short sleeves, baking in the sun,
Yes.
and for each and every person, this person just change. So we've got and we've got a werewolf also,
Yes.
partly, which I will tell you later on. Now, let us share another ancient wisdom secret with you. All people are born to be psychic. If people just want to remember that they are not the body of flesh that reflects in their mirrors, how can you ignore reality? If reality was proven over and over again, Nikita, Eliska, and Kobus knows it. In my research, I get hold of a lot of very special things to do research on. But if you meet those people and they are truly shapeshifters or whatever, or partly as in this case, it reminds you how real vampires and werewolves really are. If I show the photos when we come there, your hair is going to stand on end. Now, you are a spirit body operating through a human created body of flesh. You need your senses,
Yes.
not the body senses, to communicate two-way with your creator, Hefkenem, or the Most High, Torata, Re, Yahweh, Goria. You also have to communicate to the guardians as guides appointed over you. Furthermore, you need to see and feel who is in which body around you. You need to feel who is real light side representatives and who is real dark side representatives. Now, all that these people need to do is to keep developing their first set of senses. Learn to differentiate between what is truly right and what is truly wrong. Learn to feel other people's intentions by feeling their radiation, vibration, and looking in their eyes at the same time.
When you share all this ancient wisdom secrets, it sounds logic, but why is it logic for some and for others that I don't believe in it?
Kabosi, remember that whether people believe in it or not, all power on earth was given to who? The fallen god, Satana, or Satan as most people know him, to give power to whomever he wants to give it to. And that is a fact. All the holy scriptures around the world doesn't need to be a Christian Bible. It stands in other books also.
Yeah.
Who is who. And let me tell you something. If you see, or if you look at what people know as the one world government or whatever,
Yeah.
you received on the WhatsApp a lot of shares, where those people are sitting there telling the world, you know what, there's 3 billion people, especially in Africa, that need to be wiped out because they are the bottomless pit of hunger.
Yeah.
They don't contribute to the economics of the earth, so take them out. I mean, who is talking there? The first world government. You know what I mean? And who are they to decide who must die
Yeah.
and who not? So, who are those people
Yes.
talking to you?
Exactly. And they
If
listen
you
to
are
them.
in a country and that person tells that to you, what will you know? This is not, a country should be governed. This is what I studied when I studied international politics. It's like a group of people deciding who are the best person with the most qualifications in international politics, who you can trust to govern you as a country's public, their money, their everything. Now a person like that comes and tell you, listen, we don't need you. Who's he? He's of Satan, man. That is who he is. And I
Or
said,
even
well,
I, né?
yeah, so put all world leaders, all form governments around the world, all the media, the different secret organizations around the world, and you will know where to start looking for real satanic seed line consciousness giving life forms in human bodies. They all look with that cold and chill and whatever expression. All these dark side members of Satan's New World Order, the New World Government, you can call it what you want, mind controls their followers to believe only what their dictators want them to believe in. Now people out there just never hear ancient wisdom secrets anymore. In fact, believers in a true light side God are getting fewer and fewer by the day, and they just don't care at all. When was the last time you saw people giving thanks with the offering of their lips before they eat? I do not prefer to order prayers where extreme Satanism per biblical definition are recited before a meal. Prayers like, oh, thank you, God, for the food we are about to receive. Bless us all and bless the hands who prepare it and makes us truly thankful. I mean,
Orders
what
on
rubbish is
orders.
this, with all due respect? To the Lord are they, to which Lord are they referring to? Because Satan is also a real God. As I explained, he came from Pentora, or he made a fall, let's call it that. He crossed over the borders of the cosmic laws, and he came to a fall from Pentora in dimension 22, light side, and now he is in the minor zone dimensions. That is why they put him in the dimension 3, where all power on earth was given to him. And I mean, if you're not going mind control through life, you almost hear what the... I mean, here it's not your government speaking there. I mean, they need your permission to do something there. They don't have permission. I mean, where do you get things like government properties? They have no properties. It's the people of the country's property. You know, so if you hear something like that, let your ears stand on end. To which Lord are they preferring to? And Efkanams out there in the higher dimensions, there are so many fallen ones. You know, if you remember Lefitodara, etc., etc.
Ernst, on behalf of the viewers of our program, will you please give an example of how to address the Most High or your creator Efkanam with the offerings of your lips?
Yes, Iliska, with the biggest of pleasures. We don't serve our Lord, the Most High, with orders. I mean, even Satan didn't give him orders. He just wanted to equal himself with the Most High. And that is why he lost his whole kingdom in the light side. He's still a God, and he is still the God of sin, meaning he watches who's transgressing the biblical laws, nothing to do with that, cosmic laws. Now, yeah, our God, that is more than what Satan did to lose his place in the true light side dimensions. He's not the slave, and we the gods that we can tell God to do this or that. I mean, how can you possibly tell a God, oh, please, Lord, go with little Yanni and bring him safely home? I mean, can those people not hear they are doing satanic rituals?
Yes, and if he doesn't come home safe, he's
And
going
it-
to be cursed.
Yeah, and if that child, let's say a car ride him over or
Yes.
something, then you must hear those
Yeah.
people. I hate him.
Yeah.
He didn't do what I tell him to do.
Exactly,
You know,
that's
that's
true.
Satanism in the,
Exactly.
sorry
Highest
for that,
form.
in the most extreme. Now, our God is God. Sorry. He leads and we follow him, not the opposite. We are not at the steering wheel of our own lives by telling him, do this, do that, go with it, give the rain, the people need this. No,
Yeah.
we're not. We are not Satanists, with
Yes,
all due respect,
exactly.
and by biblical definition, we are not Satanists. We only give the offerings of our lips. Now, before we eat, our offerings of our lips sound something like this. We all stand, doesn't matter where we eat, out or at home. We take hands and pray together, loud, with the right intention in our hearts. In Afrikaans, it will sound something like, Most High Toratere Yahweh Goria, King of kings, King of all universes, you who made the earth to bring forth food so that we can eat it and live of it. To you alone the offerings of our lips, because you are the Most High God of all gods in all universes. Amen. In Tavala, the language of the real light side deities, through all dimensions, this prayer sounds as follows. I'm going to say it slowly, if you want to take it in. Rmotsa elonsat fast palo toratere Yahweh Goria. Tara oge Yahweh. Pelasa teva. Zette de corso levare pelat orsoge. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Pelat. When we pray mornings and afternoons at our house altars, before I go on, I really got a goosebump
Yeah.
effect.
No, for
Because
sure.
it works like, if you can see this, you must actually see this. When you address a real Most High, like Toratere Yahweh Goria, you get goosebumps, because what you actually feel is his attention on you. That is what you feel. When we pray mornings and afternoons at our house altars, we give the offerings of our lips, and that's all. Nothing like, God, do this, and God, go to this one and bring him home safely. In other words, we don't even address him as God, but as Toratere Yahweh Goria. Praise his name. In a later program in this series of programs, I will teach you how to shield yourself properly against demons and earthbound possessions. Now, you know, if you cannot even shield yourself, and a lot of people will say, yes, I'm shielded.
Yeah, but
With the blood of Jesus or whatever, they can do what they like. But why are you then possessed if the blood or whatever covers you? I mean, it could work, but those people don't know how to do it. They will, it's like they will put a shield around them while the demons are still inside. And that is what I'm going to educate you on the next program. And remember, the programs are supposed to be one every fortnight. So
Yes,
this
every
one will be on air, maybe today, tomorrow, the 1st of February or the 2nd. But the other one will be whenever that 2 weeks postponed. I think the next one is the 15th of February.
Aaron's just something I want to know.
Yes.
There's a lady, a client that just phoned, and she said that her son witnessed a Satan ritual.
Yes.
Now, when he came back home, something followed him back home.
Mm-hmm.
She wants us to go and have a look, but can you maybe? We haven't been there yet, but can you maybe just tell the people outside there what you think can have happened there that followed him back to the house that's giving them problems at this point in time.
Yes, and you say they visited a?
Satan ritual.
Okay, there we go. A Satan ritual. There are so many Satan or satanic rituals out there, even here in South Africa. There's a lot of them. But if you go there, what are they doing there? They're having a ritual to honor Satan. Now, there's also a misconception on what is Satanism. I just gave the definition, biblical. What did Satan do? In other words, if you are doing order prayers, you are actually Satanists, according to biblical definition of Satanism. But if you go there willingly, what can you expect? What are they doing there? They are doing offerings. So there's such a lot, just as we are protected by light side angelical forms. And even gods, they are also protected by their fallen angels, fallen Afghanams, fallen gods, etc. So what will be the result? You go there unshielded.
Yes.
So what are you going to bring back?
Yes.
Demonic presences. And normally, you know, if that entity follows you back home, it's there for a reason.
Yes.
He saw something in you that he would like to have, and that is why he's following you. So, if he was at any form of satanic ritual, he should immediately come for a paratosa as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know what followed him back, but you know, and Eliska, you know that, I mean, even if we come to those, when they scratch you, you know, with a 3-claw mark or a 2, you know that so there's a lot of questions we would like to ask him. Did something scratch you? Did something push you? Even, you know, just a little bump or whatever. You saw on that video clip how easy it is. And I mean, that guy was walking, he just did that. What the hell is going on now? And then he walks, didn't know what's happening. So that guy will also not know when the bad entity came into his body. Maybe it came, but it's only attached to him, so it's now watching the surrounding areas. You know, they're planning, they are unseen entities. So you can advise them, he should have been here already for a paratosa before. It could be that the one came home with him could be a Zarya demon. And those people out there in the program on possession, I mentioned the Zarya demon that are one of the highest in rank that you can get. And in Paranormal Activity 1, you can, if you watch that movie, you can see how that creature of a demonic entity goes along working when he follows you home. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much, Ernst.
Okay. In a later program, yes, I'm going to show you or to teach you or to educate you. Actually, I'm going to share wisdom secrets on how to do it properly. And you need to do it in the morning and in the afternoon. And even if we are going through the day to a haunted place or a demonic place, we do it as well before you enter there. Now in the next program, that is program D. D for Dani or whatever. I'm going to educate you on the dangers of open portals to dark dimensions. Portals like mirrors, fireplaces, campfires, water pools, etc. Now, before I go on, so here you see now in the forthcoming one, we are first going to do this program before we come to the one of how to shield yourself. You as a consciousness giving life form can become possessed and or lose subconscious components which will make you slow.
Yeah.
You know, like a computer that needs a defrag.
Fragment.
What did I say?
I've just connected the
you know, I
virus.
don't feel I'll give you an example. They are not really as slow as that, but they
Yeah, I know.
stop completing their sentences.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of stuff, but don't miss out on it, please. Yeah, you as a consciousness-giving life form can become possessed and or lose subcomponents which will make you slow like a computer needing a defrag. And please people, friends out there, don't miss out on it, and remember to press the like and the subscribe buttons and the bell notifications to be in line for more incredible knowledge just like this. And until we share some more ancient wisdom secrets to our friends and people out there, love and light, El Tizator and my team.